All right, we're all the way live. We got 1, 3, 4, 5 viewers already. We got DJEHUTY Speaks at DJEHUTY Speaks in the building. I think this is like 101's episode 15 or 14. We're not even keeping track really, but DJEHUTY, how you doing today, my brother?
Man, I'm on top of the world, beloved. Thank you for setting this up and for having me on. Thank you.
Yeah, we got to give the people what they want, and I think people have been asking for me and you for months now.
Yes. I think it will be good because it's all about perspective.
Yeah.
My philosophy is I don't believe in any one modality in anything, and I
Mm-hmm.
believe that people are responsible for themselves, which includes health. I get so many DMs, right? I'm blocking people, cursing people out every week because people think that I'm their go-to person, and it's like, no, man, your health is your responsibility. You have to do the work and
Mm-hmm.
find out what works for you. Period.
Yeah.
And that's just how I am. So if what I recommend doesn't work, I send people to you. You see, I send people to other people who are into macrobiotics, keto, what have you. Because at
Yep.
the end of the day, I want people to be healthy. If people are dealing with the pathology, I want people to be healed. I'm not egotistical. It's not about me. It's about human health.
Well said. That's true wisdom right there. Same. You know,
Absolutely.
we it's interesting, right? We all have different bloodlines, we all have different ancestors, we all came up in different ways. The people who evolved one way up here in Northern Europe, they were probably doing things a little bit differently than the people near the equator,
Absolutely.
sub-Saharan Africa, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And that's what I kind of want to go right off bat. You had a post today that I loved. You said the Black American soul food diet, 1950s to 80s, didn't do Black Americans in, fast food did them in. Then you
Yes.
said go back and look at Black Americans in the early 1970s, Watts Tax, for example, see how lean, slender they were despite being on this soul food diet, right? Banana pudding, black eyed peas, buttermilk biscuits, candied yams, greens, collard, cornbread, fried catfish, fried chicken, green beans. Let's talk about that a little bit about, yeah, man, in the 1980s, a lot of things took a turn for the worse, not just with Black Americans, with all Americans, but Black Americans in particular, especially in the inner cities.
Yeah.
What changed? What happened? How can we? I think education is key, like you said in the beginning, but how can we educate people to make the proper choices in their communities to kind of, it's like walking through landmines, right?
Yeah. In all due honesty, beloved, especially when you're dealing with Black Americans, but this is true for all people, there are three things that are pretty much taboo, that are very difficult to talk to people about. People
Mm,
in general, Black Americans in particular. That is religious belief, diet, and in the Western world, America in particular, politics.
yep.
People over those things. We go crazy. We lose it over those three things because we hold those things dear. Number one, belief in God. Number two, diet. What we eat. So in the Black American community, we suffer from traditional cultural paralysis. Very, 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 very challenging to get Black Americans to look at the soul food diet. Because even though the soul food diet was better than the SAD, what the soul food diet is comprised of has also been tainted like the rest of the American food supply. Where are
Mm-hmm.
Black Americans getting their food from, right? The same super casket that everybody else is getting their so-called food from. So there's an inundation of toxins, right? Food being irradiated, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So the soul food that you could eat back in the 60s and the 70s and the early 80s, you can't eat today. It's different.
Yeah.
That food is not being exported and imported from Africa. Is coming up right here in America, and that's the problem. After
Mm,
World War II, big business, the chemical, big chema, as I call it, merged with agriculture, and that was a problem
yep.
because the chemical industry said now that we control agriculture, we can use our chemicals on the food. We can start messing with the food supply because after all, it's all about control and then profits from the control. And so that's what took place. So the eggs that we use in soul food, the meats, the pork, the catfish, all of that has been commercialized. You see,
Yep.
we drink the same municipal tap water that has more atrazine in it than the experiment in Berkeley, California, that converted those particular African frogs in male frogs into female frogs. There's more of the atrazine chemical in your drinking water
Yep.
than using that experiment. You see, so we have the same access to tainted food that everybody else has. You see, and the truth of the matter is, even though the soul food has changed, most Black Americans are eating the standard American diet today.
Mm-hmm.
Because as our economic lot in life has improved and we've made more money, we've made more strides, we start eating a different way. And that different way is the SAD. And that's what does us in. So even though we're a minority, man, we lead in so many negative health categories, man. The colorectal cancer, man, the diabetes. Almost 90% of the patients on dialysis are Black American. So you talk about high blood pressure. Black men are number one with prostatitis, prostate issue. A minority of people, but you're number one in so many adverse health categories. Why is that? It's what you're eating.
Yep.
It's an American thing. And like I tell people, when America catches a cold, Black folks catch pneumonia. Things are always going to be worse with African Americans because of the condition that they're in and allow themselves to be in or stay in.
Well said. Oh yeah, that's why I'm a big proponent of reverse osmosis or distilled, because it's like, hey, I'll get my minerals later. I just want to take everything out of that first run, that source from my tap. And EWG.org, for you guys listening, we got 350 people in the building now. EWG.org, type in your zip code, you can see everything that's in your water. It's an amazing site.
Over 300 chemicals in the water. That's insane. Your video has frozen. I don't know if you can hear me. If you can hear me.
All right, we're back.
Okay, there we go.
They don't want us to be great. We start talking about the water and the chemicals. So, no, great point. How do we fix it? I think we educate people, right? I see you got, yeah, go ahead.
No, I was about to say absolutely. Education is where it is. I wouldn't be where I am without education. You wouldn't be where you are without education. You put something in your head, in your dome.
Yep. And now, what is education, right? Because we could read books that are bad for us. We could read books that are written by certain people with certain conflicts of interest, right? So I see you got, how many books do you have in your library there?
Total, I have about a little bit over 18,000 books. This is just, I have 3 separate places, but this one here probably has the bulk. I probably have about 3/5 of the library here.
So you got a whole library. What do you have a favorite book, or like one that was most important to you?
No, they've all been instrumental. I started with the Bible. The Bible led me, to the Quran, and then I got into political conspiracies, mythology, Black history. I mean, you name it, business, law, money, just everything that's pertinent to life, right?
Yeah.
Because life was kicking my behind, man. I was getting pulled over like once a month, what have you, I had to, look out for the Crips and the Bloods. I mean, it was just crazy, so I'm like, this is not living here, so what can I do to protect myself? And as strange as it is, it was knowledge, man. Like knowledge pulled me from the bottom to the top. We're talking the genie bottle lifestyle. We're talking the magic wand, from knowledge, and so these days, man, I'm solo. I don't deal with anybody in my family, Thor, maternal or paternal, because they refuse to change. They still eat the bad food. They still smoke, drink. play dominoes and do all the stuff that is degenerate and that keep one behind. I don't do that.
Mm.
So I had to bounce. I had to bounce.
It's tough. It's tough. Once you start to evolve, once you start to level up and vibrate higher, once you clean your liver up, you start to look at the world different. You start to look at your friends and family different. And, you know, just this year alone, I lost a few friends just from cleaning my liver up and being a more happy, positive person.
Absolutely.
I started to look at some of my friends like, man, you know, childhood friends that you don't want to, but it's like, I can't be around this negativity, this contagion of talking bad about other people. It's like, we got to get beyond that. So what's kind of your origin story? I want to know like what red pilled you into, because, you know, I'm from New York. A lot of my friends were Black growing up, and I almost caught victim, I think a lot of people too, of like, this isn't cool, right? It's not cool to eat healthy. And I think that's starting to change. I think it's starting to become cooler to eat healthy and take care of yourself. And we just have to make it cool. So what was like your origin story that like red pilled you into health and nutrition?
Well, number one, I've always been a quark reversal. I've always been divergent. Now,
Yeah.
in astrology, my sun sign is Taurus. I have Sun in Taurus in the sixth house. And so when you understand that the sixth house corresponds to the attributes of Virgo, which is health and hygiene, I automatically had the knack for health and hygiene. Even when I was in South Central as a little boy, ignorant. But I had the desire to heal people. When my little brother, sister, cousins were injured or got sick, it was me there with the Vaseline, right? I didn't know any better. You know, the toilet paper, the hydrogen peroxide, the alcohol, it was always in me.
Wow.
It was always in me, you know. So as I matured and I started doing my own thing, right? Purchasing my own books, doing my own research, which included astrology, numerology, a whole bunch of things, it clicked. It clicked,
Yeah.
and it all made sense. See, the most pivotal thing that happened to me, Thor, in my life, especially in my childhood, at age 12, I almost died from so-called bronchial asthma.
Wow.
So-called bronchial asthma. It was about 2 months after I graduated from elementary school. Man, I was so sick, I couldn't walk. My beloved father had to carry me and into the hospital. And in the hospital is, you could pretty much say, in strange fashion, which was really divine, but in strange fashion, you could say I was really red pilled there at age 12.
Yeah.
Because I knew that things wasn't right. When I heard the doctor say, ma'am, prepare, there's a 70% chance he's not going to make it, which really messed my mother up. She ended up having a nervous breakdown, you know, weeks later. But I'll never forget that. And just entertaining death, I'm like, yo, God, I don't want to die. I don't want to die. Like, I want to live. I want to be at home. I want to see my siblings, what have you. And I said, God, if I can live, I promise to be good. I promise to be a good person. I promise to help people. I promise to clean my room and all of that. Man, I'm telling you, the next morning, my beloved mother, who I call Mom's the Muse, she came in and she checked me out against medical advice. She said, if he's going to die, he's going to die at home.
Wow.
But there was to be no death. I needed to be in an environment of love and care, you know, where the window could, you know, you could open up the window and breathe in air. A hospital is no place to be well, right? All the windows are closed. The food is dead. They don't care about you. It's cold in there. It's crazy. Hell, every hospital, I don't go to hospitals, Thor, because every hospital on the bottom floor got a morgue. I don't go to places where there's a morgue because that means there's a chance you may not make it. So I don't go to those places. So my mother came in and checked me out against medical advice, beloved, and that's what put me on the path. And I never, even back, I didn't know anything. But when those doctors said you will have asthma for the rest of your life, I didn't believe it, even at the age of 12. And I fantasized. I didn't even know nothing about the law of attraction, but I fantasized about like a gas that could come into my body and just heal me. I'd be pumping gas, man. I'd just have those thoughts. I mean, for years, working the law of attraction, man. And the next thing you know, I got into ozone therapy, you know, which happened a little bit after the herbs, but I put it all together and my life changed big time, man. So in 1992, the last family Thanksgiving, that was it for me. right? We arguing at the Thanksgiving table. You know, they saying I'm in a cult. I'm crazy because I'm like, man, y'all eating this turkey bird, man. That's grafted. And, you know, you guys eat this, eat that. You know, so they thinking I'm crazy, right? Hey, that was a number two thing. Like, you know what? That red pilled me. Like the majority of people, or they're happy where they are. You know, they don't want to grow. The comfort, the convenience, that's their thing. I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't convenient. I didn't like being sick. You're talking to a person who used to be one of the sickest persons on planet Earth. I stayed sick as a little boy because of the diet. Because of the diet that
what were you eating?
me.
What were you eating? What were you eating growing up?
We were lower class in South Central Los Angeles, man. You know, we got most of our quote unquote food from the corner store. So we're talking Springfield, Del Monte, you know, fruits, vegetables. You know, I didn't know nothing about wheat bread. I thought wheat bread was weird as a little boy, you know, because all we had was white bread, the Wonder Bread, Weber's, you know, the refined bread, you know. Everything was incarcerated. It was locked up in a can, a box, a carton, what have you. Everything was dead, man. You know, pop and pastries. It was horrible, man. You know, so I give credit to my mom's because she did the best she can do based on what she knew. But man, it was those white foods killing me, man. The white rice with all the starch, man. I mean, come on, man. How do you get a shirt stiff? That's potato starch, man. That's corn starch, man. And you're eating that damn near every day, and your food is overcooked. Hey, look, man. Caucasians drank water, did milk, like you saw in the Brady Bunch. Black folks, as you saw in Good Time, we drank Kool-Aid, which I call Fool-Aid. We're talking chemical, color, and sugar. Now, bro, we're eating this, we're drinking this every day.
Yep. I remember I would go over my black friend's house and I couldn't believe how much extra sugar we would put the Kool-Aid in, and then they would take the sugar and put the sugar in after the Kool-Aid.
Half a bag, bro, half a bag. I mean, just insanity. My father's from Mississippi. That's a big part of it would mess me up, my pops. And I'm not cranking on, I'm just, you know, being truthful.
Yeah.
That was a big part of it, man, coming from Mississippi, the backwoods, man, because my father, I'll never forget, my father, the paternal side of my family, they used to like boiled peanuts, man. And when making boiled peanuts, they would be pouring a whole bunch of salt into the peanuts and stirring it up. And they would look down at you because as a little boy, you're in the kitchen watching them. And I'll never forget my father saying, don't eat a lot of salt because salt will give you high blood pressure. I came up hearing high blood pressure and a heart attack. And I'll be honest with you, for years, I thought that I would die from a heart attack because allegedly it ran in the family. And I didn't know that the only thing that ran in my family was a horrible diet, not a bad diet, but a horrible diet, you see. So that's where I come from, you know, just the low income, you know, the hood, liquor store on every other corner, you know, cheap food, if you can even call it, you know, food. They don't go to the public education system, LAUSD. So, you know, that's, you know, junior prison food there. Everything's processed, dead, devitalized, what have you. So you grew up eating that stuff there, man, right? A pocket full of candy, 9 laters, Tootsie Rolls, big bowl bubble gum, you know, the food that your mom's made. Come on, you do that, you know, for a good decade and a half, you're messed up. So it was no wonder I ended up with bronchial asthma. But that was an attempt by my beloved body to save me. A lot of people don't understand that pain and disease are really sensors. They're there to get our attention, to let us know that something is wrong with us, man. Dis-ease. You're not at ease. Something is not right. So I'm going to slow you down and force you to think about what it is that you're doing that's causing the problem, because there is no outside culprit. It's on you. So that's my red pill story, bro. It started at age 12, and then, you know, I had things happen at, you know, age 22, age 25. And I would say by age 27, I was ready to go. I was ready to crack the matrix, crack the code of the matrix, which I've done.
Yeah, it's a lot of us, we have a rebellious nature. You know, we're outliers. We kind of go against the grain, and that's kind of our origin story of something's not right here. But for a doctor to tell a 12-year-old boy that he's never going to be able to cure his asthma, to me, that's one of the major problems going on in society today is, and I think I know COVID red pilled a lot of people, but, you know, doctors have a very strong authority in our culture, in our society, where that guy in that white lab coat, when he tells you something, a lot of people take it to heart and really listen it and let it define them. Where some people just say, hey, no, I refuse to believe that. We see it all the time. There was a post on X the other day where a guy's like, hey, doctors told me I have 6 months to live, nothing left I can do. This is farewell, everybody, you know, and like thousands of reposts and replies. And even people in the replies are like, no, hey, don't give up. Don't give up. There's still stuff you could do. And the guy's like, I don't want to hear it. You know, there's nothing I can do. And it's sad that, you know, but as a 12-year-old and for your mom, kudos to your mom, mother's intuition. And that was another thing of don't forget with soul food, and this isn't just for Black America, we're talking coming from the soul, people cooking from love, right? When grandma was cooking from a place of love to take care of her family. And now most Americans are outsourcing this magic to a fast food employee who probably doesn't want to be there. Who knows if they're going through the proper steps and channels and adding the right things in their food. And that's what I think about a lot of times when I'm eating out, where, like, you know, sometimes we have to eat if I'm traveling. And the other day I'm at an airport, I'm about to order something. And the guy, as I walk towards the counter, the guy goes, oh, fuck. Like, he was mad that I was coming to order food. Wow. So what did I do? I just turned around and walked away. Yeah. I said, I don't want. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't trust that, man. Wow, that's so true. But I would say that not probably for most people, they don't want to be there. They do not want to. I have an issue with modern day people, modern day Americans. See, I love to workaholic because I love what I do. I am doing what I've always wanted to do, right? I live the way that I've always wanted to live. It's a very magical, mystical, but majestic life. So when you understand that quality is what you do when no one is looking, very few people operate with quality because they don't like what they're doing. So behind the scenes, they cut corners. They just put your food together, throw it together. You know, they are robotical with it.
Yeah.
They're not intimate with it. You see, when I'm doing my thing, formulating with the herbs, there's love. I'm intimate. You could pretty much say I'm making love to it. My energy goes into whatever it is that I'm working with. Even though we have the phones now, we don't really wear watches like we used to, unless we're flossing the Rolex or what have you. But I have not worn a watch since the early 20s. When I retired in 2001, that was it for a watch. Time irrelevant.
Yeah.
Time totally irrelevant. So whatever it is I was doing that I enjoyed, I did it until the body said, hey, can't do it anymore, right? Mind is willing, but the body is not able. Go to sleep, few hours, you can get back to it. That's how my life has been ever since 2001. I love what I do. And I do what I do for love. That's how man, I never thought I would live to see millions of dollars. Man, I'm from South Central Los Angeles. Hell, $50 we felt rich, $100 we felt rich. But it's working those laws, those universal laws, man, you know, doing what you love, right? Matthew 6:33, seek ye first the kingdom of God and God's righteousness. And then all things of the world or the matrix will be added unto you. And most people miss that. We don't follow the heart. If you ask most people, Thor, what did they go to school for, to college and major in? It was not something in and of the heart.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no love. And so they from job to job to job. I haven't moved around ever since I, cracked my code. I'm going to do this until my dying day, you see. But most people want to move around because they went to school for a degree in one field. And they will compromise that for money. They'll take a position that they didn't even go to school for, that their degree is not for. Money, you see, money.
Yeah.
And see, the quality of service, the food, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, it reflects in that mindset for snaps. I'm here for the damn paycheck, whatever it is.
Yeah, too many people, especially a lot of first generation, and it's not always their fault, but they become what? Doctors, lawyer, accountant.
Money.
And in your average hospital, your major cities, you got some more qualified doctors, but you go around the country and you got a lot of people who just became a doctor
Yeah.
just to make their family proud and to make money. They're going to follow their orders, right? They have a boss, they have a protocol, they have to listen, and they're not working for us. They're really working for insurance companies and big pharma, right?
Yeah.
So tell us about your story with your business and how you became successful in this field. Because I don't know much about that either. So I'm very interested in hearing that.
Man. Boy, I'll tell you, I used to walk to work, man. My last job, I used to walk to work, and I would fantasize about these formulas. Every day I would walk to work, I would say blood formula, and I would list off the herbs, man, the sarsaparilla, the echinacea, the organ grape, the barberry, what have. Then I moved to the heart formula. I do the same thing with the heart formula. Then I would do the liver formula, the lungs formula, the kidney formula, the colon formula. Every single day, had no idea I was working the law of attraction, man. One day I come home from work, my wife says, "Listen, why don't you make it a reality?" I'm like, "Yo, I'm working, and I don't have like a lot of time." She would stay at home, wife and mom. She said, "I'll do it." One day I came home, she had all the information. She said, "Let's go. Here are all the places," and went to all the places, the bottle places, found this cool dude named Fahim, who's no longer in business. He was a herbalist. He showed love. And the next thing you know, man, bloop, I was doing my own thing. This was in 1999. My mother made her transition. She succumbed to the treatment from cancer for pancreatic cancer. Pops the Maestro, he succumbed to his cancer therapy in 1994. Now, when you was talking about people, doctors can tell certain people that they have a certain amount to live and they believe it.
Yeah.
And it's a wrap. That was my father. My father trusted this system. He trusted this system more than he trusted himself. Then he trusted the God he alleged to have believed in. And they told that man that he had 6 months to live. And they told my mother, "You let him eat whatever he want to eat." Now, this dude's from Mississippi, so he loves syrup and biscuit. I mean, the diet was horrible. I mean, 3 type of meats, bacon, and pork sausages, salt pork, just horrible. And the doctors told him, "Let him eat it. He's up out of here," what have you. This was in 1994. 1999, my mom's pancreatic cancer. So she succumbed June 1st. By November, I got that nudge. "Hey, man, get up off your rear end, man. You have knowledge. You have products, what have you." Even though we had Sabi out here, we had Dr. Sabi, we had Dr. B. Sears. Like LA was balling back then, man. LA was the place to be. We had some heavyweights on the scene. But I'm from South Central Los Angeles. I grew up with the crack cocaine, the freeway Rick, and that energy. So I'm bringing that energy to the herb field. I don't care about none of these people that's been on the scene. I'm about to do a Frank Matthews, right? I'm about to do a Nino Brown. I'm taking over this bad boy. I'm not going to wave no flag and tell people, but I'm taking over. So in 1999, I came out with the full body detox, which is the greatest thing I've ever invented, man. It's brought in millions of dollars. That was not the goal. It's just so many people got their hands on it. But in 1999, I went public and I came out with the full body detox. And you had a lot of detox kits on the scene, but I added a blood formula and a heart formula and activated charcoal. That's why so many cleanses contain activated charcoal, because I put activated charcoal in my cleanse. And Dr. Sabi was the man in LA. And Sabi, and this is not to talk ill of the dead, but Sabi was robbing the people, man. I mean, robbing the people left and right, man. $500, $1,000, $15,000, $2,000. And as a herbalist, you know how much these herbs cost. I'm like, damn, this dude here he's foul. So who and what I am, spiritualist, black sheep, looking out for the people. I'm about to rival Sabi. And then I'm going to come out with something better than what Sabi has. And it's going to be cost effective. It's going to damn near be cheap. It's going to be the best for less. If these damn drug dealers that I grew up with could do what they did. They became millionaires, man. No radio commercial. They didn't advertise in newspapers. None of that stuff, man. But people knew where to get that crack, that rock from. They knew where to get that crack cocaine from. No advertiser. A good product sells itself. So I'm like, you know what, man? If these jokers, if these sapsuckers can do that with something that is illegal and harmful, why in the hell can't we do it with something that's good? So I said, you know what? Instead of saying people should do, I'm gonna do it. Somebody, I'm gonna be a somebody. Man, I came out, so I was radical. I had the best blood formula, and I sold it for $10. And with God as my witness, man, this apartment I had was not. It didn't have security, so anybody could walk up to the front door. Man, I kid you not. People thought that my apartment was a rock house. I had people all over ringing the doorbell. Hey man, can I get that blood formula? Man, can I get that full body detox? What have you?
Yeah.
It was magical, man. Then the celebs came on the scene, man. You know, Stevie Wonder, Shamar Moore, like word spread. I didn't even have the internet back then. It was all word of mouth. Man, I'd be on the phone with people for 4 hours, 5, 6, 7 hours, just dropping, and not just about health, but about life. That's why the people still follow me to this day, right? I sold my business in 2022, but if you do the research store, you will see Tehuti Rock did not advertise. In 6 years, I didn't have to. Because I took what the streets was doing and I applied it to my business in the herbal field. And it was all she wrote, you know, for years. So 1999, word of mouth, I started my business, Afia Herbaceuticals. It was cheap and it got the job done. Man, this shit, $10, man, this shit ain't gonna work, what have you. But when you tuck it, man, people came back like, yo, like, dude, you either stupid or you an earth angel, man. It's one or the other. And it was that whole earth angel. I was looking out for the people. I never cared about money. You see, if you take care of people, profits will come because profits follow people. See, I went to business school a day. I barely graduated from high school. Everything that I'm about, I learned on my own, which is why I have the library.
Yeah.
So I met some partners in 2004. They helped to take me to the next level with technology because I wasn't dealing with credit cards. Hey, Thor, I would just go to the mailbox, man, and I'd have $4,000, $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 in money orders and checks. That's all I had to do was just go down to the mailbox. It was that crazy. That was early 2000. So my partners, they helped with the technology, and those dudes were worldly. Man, you know, Tootie, you got too much knowledge. We got great products, man. You know, we should be millionaires, man. It ain't gonna never happen. We're not gonna be millionaires. 2007, I told my partner, Aman, I said, brother, just hold on. Let's do the street work. Let's do the footwork. Forget the money. It's going to come. It's going to come. 2008, I was on Warren Ballantyne's show. Shut down the whole operation, man, because I'm talking to the nation just like how I'm talking now. I don't sell out, you know. I'm talking snot cream. Like, man, if you're doing the ice cream, I'm calling it snot cream, you know. I'm calling cat in the eyes, boogers in the eyes. I'm talking I'm talking to Tehuti Rock. Man, it lit the nation up. 2008, man, we clocked $1.5 million. Bloop, just like three brothers from South Central Los Angeles. And the trip thing and the cool thing was we doubled it the next year. And then we doubled that amount in the third year. And that was all she wrote, man. We had it mastered. That's my story, man. No school, just believing in myself, acquiring the knowledge, right? Applying the knowledge. But most importantly, as Les Brown would say, I believed in myself. And that's, to this day, that's how I am. I respect Dr. Sebi, Tim Morrow, Lailo Africa, what have you. But being a tourist, just being who I am and come from South Central Los Angeles, I don't care who you are. In my mind, I may not say it, but in my mind, I'm the best at what I do. And I get the results because I believe that.
Amazing story. The part I love the few parts I love, the part I love is like, you know, so many people want to be a reply guy and then say what red pilled me to start my community and eventually kind of go your path and start selling some products is like, I got fed up with seeing what other people were doing wrong. And instead of me like being in their replies, arguing with them, just create your own thing.
That's it, Thor. That happened to me. You know, Tim Morrow is a brother, a partner. I love him. You know, he's made his transition. But I'm like, dude, why in the hell are you selling this product that has worms as a freaking ingredient? That didn't make any sense to me. And then you have
Mm.
people from Nature Sunshine with only 4 or 5 herbs in it, and they were selling it for sky high, 20, 25, $30. I'm like, you can put this into it, you can add this, you can add that, what have you. I said, man, bump that. That's too much. The politics, too much politics. Nobody, Dr. Paul Goss, he was the same way. Man, coming from the streets, coming from South Central Los Angeles, I'm like, bump all that. I'm gonna do my own thing. I'm taking over. And that's exactly what I did. I created my own product. And here's the thing that I learned, man. I learned this from Urban Magic Johnson, because when I left that third business that blew up when the millions came, right? We had issues. When you're spiritual and grounded, other people are not, and money is their God, you're going to have issues in business, unfortunately. Yeah. I'm just saying that to the listening audience. That's just game. That's just how it goes. And it happened to myself, you know. And this was 2011. Yeah, this was 2011. So had issues because of the money. Like, hey man, we can chill. You ain't got to create, Tahuti. We got money. I'm like, what? Not create because we got money? We didn't do this for no money. Tick tock, you don't stop. I don't. So it's like, you know what? Y'all need to go your way. I'm gonna go my way. So, man, these jokers were using my name because everybody knew Tootie Madra, right? The people trusted me. So I'm like, damn, you know, these cats are telling people that I still work there, and I don't, you know. So I learned from Magic Johnson. I said, you know what? I'm gonna brand my product. I'm gonna put my face on the bottle and my name on it. That's gonna wipe out any confusion. And I went public. I was huge on YouTube before the age of ultra sensitivity, and I educated people on YouTube. That's why I had over 800 videos, man. I was educating people on YouTube. I said, if you don't see this face in the name, this logo, it ain't from Madra. And everybody wanted what Tahuti made because it was the bomb diggity. And when I did that, Thor, man, things really went through the roof, man, because of that past business, we never did the numbers I was doing when I left them. I was doing $10,000 a day, like with no effort. I was clocking 300 something, and every month it was going up. And it never did that with that past business, you see. So when I put my face on it, right, I didn't have to hire people. Those people had to hire Steve Harvey. They had to hire Ricky Smiley. They had to hire the celeb. I never did that because celebs don't live the lifestyle that I live this, right? I'm about that life, right? So I'm the head person, right? You ain't got to pay me nothing. I'm already getting a salary. I'm representing this right here, you see. And when I did that, lights out, man. I'm flying to London, England. I'm lecturing in London, England, man. I'm going to Costa Maya, Mexico, man, Belize. I mean, man, talk about like a dream come true, man. Like people that's listening, man, never, ever, ever give up on your dreams, man. Look, I didn't go to school. I didn't have no money. I don't have no degrees. None of that. That doesn't matter. What matters is what's in here and what's in here. That's it. And once you make up your mind to be or to do, that's it. You stick to that. And the next thing you know, man, knock, knock, knock. Who is it? Wealth. It'll blow your mind, man. All I wanted was to buy books, man. I buy books that cost $2,000, little raggedy books, man, you know, $2,200 something. That's all I ever wanted. If I want a Rolex, if I want a Mercedes Benz or whatever that the people out there these days are flossing with, I could have it. It just doesn't move me. Knowledge is what moves me, man. Right? You can't see it, but next to me is a sauna. You know, I got all type of like health gadgets, man, you know, because with me, it's all about life longevity. Thor, if you and I walk into a psychic office or a palm reader, and they take the hand of Madra, and you say, how long is this dude going to live? Every last one of them will tell you, this dude has a long life longevity. It's in the palm of my hand, and I always knew it. But see, once I came alive, once I came into the consciousness, I was like, oh, snap, I'm going to live a long time. I'm not going to be like my uncles who had good genes, but they did crack, they smoked, they drank. I reversed that, right? And I eat according to nature. So I'm like, oh, snap, I'm going to live to be 100. I always wanted to do it, but I got to do my part. I can't do that if I'm going to be vaping and smoking and drinking and doing the nightlife and stupid stuff. It's not going to happen. You see, so I do my part in that. You know, we're scripted for success. We're scripted for long life longevity. But out of ignorance, most of us, we sabotage ourselves. Not so with the Matra. I've done my homework. I've done my due diligence.
What's the Madra? That's the different hand positions of like.
When I say Matra, that's my last name.
Oh, that's your last name. Okay, good.
Matra.
So
Yeah.
what happened? So you ended up going branding on your own, then you ended up selling your business?
Yes. Because
So
now I'm
tell me about that. Yeah, I'm interested in that.
Man, the world, I'm not one for popularity, man. I became too popular and there's something I didn't want to deal with. I love people.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I have a love-hate relationship with people, but I became too popular, man. You can't walk down the street, man, everywhere you go. You know, you can't do customer service. If they hear you, oh my Tahiti, they scream and treat you like you're Michael Jackson. I don't do good with that. I'm all about the knowledge. Don't praise me. I understand I may have helped you and help family members, what have you, but I don't need no accolades, man, because a man like me, I don't have a lot of time. I'm not an asshole. It's just leave me alone because I'm always in fault. You know, so you got a burger in your hand and yo, my ride. It's like, dude, like I'm trying to eat, man. Like people lose it. You know, people lose it. This is not the life for me, man. You can't go to Whole Foods, Tahiti, brother, Tahiti. And it's like, damn, you know, I just want that peace. So I'm like, if I can get behind the scenes, life will be hunky dory. And that's exactly what I did. It took me a minute, man, to build this establishment, but I finally did it, man. So I'm into production. I'm behind the scenes, man. You know, it's just myself and the angels and a few people that I work with that don't mess with me. And so now I make for other people. It's not just about me. You know, I had my company. I was balling, but now I help other people come into this arena. And the thing about it is, I'm semi-legally astute, so I know the laws. All the FDA, you know, your documentation to import from other countries, what have you. That political thing, that legal thing, that legal aspect, like that's me. You know, helping people to get on Amazon and eBay. You know, make sure your labels are FDA compliant. Like all of that good stuff, man. Like that's what I'm doing now. I'm helping other people. I passed the baton on to Lisa and Mark, you know, Divine Medicinals. But I'm behind the scene with Alchemical Product Creations, man, and I love it. You know, and I'm actually doing better than I was out front. You start out front, but then you meander to the back and start assisting and helping other people because we're not gonna always be on the scene, you know. So we bring the serious people on board, you know, like how Bruce Lee did, and we work with those who are serious, you know, and we get other people out there. Yo, Thor, listen, man, the field is so large that there is no competition.
Yeah.
It's enough to go around. You could have, man, 1,000 products and it still wouldn't be enough. You know, so there's no my product this versus that. Dude, there's room for everybody to get in. Hey, Trudy, hey man, you're not afraid, man, that people going, bump you off or your sales don't go down? Nope, never happened. It never, because of the integrity. People, when you have integrity, people trust you. That's why I don't have to advertise. Is that Tahuti did that? Is that say no more? I want it. See, so I've done the work.
And you're coming from a place of abundance. You're not coming from a place of scarcity. I'm the same way. It's like, hey, if this works, go do it yourself and sell it because guess what? There's millions of people out there sick that need help.
Man, absolutely. You can never go. Let me tell you something right quick. Man, when the the COVID-19 PSYOP hit in 2000, man, I'm just so glad that I listened to myself. I'm so glad that I had the knowledge.
Yeah.
It was one of the best moves I ever made. Like, it doesn't, it's good that it happened, but it doesn't feel good considering what happened to a lot of other people, including associates of mine. But when COVID hit, sales went through the roof, man. I generated so much money. It's like, damn, you know, people's jobs got to shut down. You know, people are being financially harmed. I'm witnessing stuff, man. It was just horrible to watch. But the industry I was in, man, I made a freaking fortune because no matter what, people are going to always want to be healthy. People are going to always be sick. And a lot of people, they know what time it is with the allopathic medicine world. And so they're going to want alternatives. that's not going anywhere. And when you deal with COVID, it's like, yo, man, like, what can I do? So you got the products for them. Then you have the people who took the shot. Well, what can I do? Well, I can't help with the mRNA, but as far as the clotting and all that stuff, along those lines, I got this for you, what have you. So, man, I made a fortune, man. I didn't want to, but it just came, man. And so everybody around me who had brick and mortars and who just wasn't into food or so-called dietary supplements, man, they all went under, man. There are certain places that I drive by, man, and I just there's an internal cry, man. Like, wow, there's the Zone, the gaming center that my sons used to play laser tag at, man. It's gone, man. Like, COVID shut them down. Like Dupar's in Pasadena is shut down. Like, so many places were shut down. But myself, I thrived, which was the second time. Remember, I told you in 2008 when we clocked 1.5 million. That came during the housing. That came during the housing bubble.
Wow.
And I had people who were buried for years, big houses in Glendale. Man, they were losing their homes, their businesses. Unfortunately, they were getting divorces and moving away. And I thrived, man. My wife and I, we thrived during that time, man. So if you're going in the direction of health product supplements, Thor, you will not go wrong. I stake my life on that. And I know you got a name, following, people trust you. It's the best move you can make, beloved. It's the best. It's recession proof. It's PSYOP proof. As long as the government ain't messing, with your money, the digital stuff, your payment aggregators, what have you. But it's proof. It's recession proof. It's PSYOP proof. You cannot go wrong. You cannot go wrong. So that's a great move. Not a good move. That's a great move that you're making with your own products.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's like, I want to make stuff for me. Okay, I make it for me. It works for me. I love it. Okay, now I can start sharing it with the world. And that's the way it should be.
Absolutely. You can't go wrong. You're helping people. And then you're also, being financially rewarded, financially blessed, which takes your life to the next level. Your wife, children, everybody benefits, man. So it's a beautiful thing, man. So, hats off on that right there, man. That's a beautiful experience, man. Very beautiful. It's been damn good for me. Changed my life.
Let's talk about when you first said, Dr. Sebi, when you said you added charcoal to your formula. I'm a big proponent of charcoal, especially when somebody's coming from the standard American SAD diet and they say, hey, I'm picking up what you're putting down. I'm ready to detox. I'm ready to eat clean and change my lifestyle. I like to start a lot of people, if they're eliminating, defecating consistently, I like to add charcoal to the mix for the first 7 to 14 weeks. Talk about charcoal a little bit and how because people get afraid of charcoal, right? Because it's this burnt wood. Yeah. So tell the people about charcoal and how that works.
Activated charcoal, man, is magical. I remember I met a woman, man. Her name was Sansaria. She was Native American. And I thought that lady was crazy back in the mid-90s, man, because she used to tell me that when they grew up, they didn't use toothpaste. They used charcoal. And I said, this woman is crazy. She's like, yeah, we just dip our finger into the charcoal and we brush our teeth with the charcoal. And I'm gonna tell you, man, the woman had the whitest teeth I ever saw in my life. But again, I'm like, this woman is crazy. And I'm thinking charcoal. I only know of one type of charcoal. I don't know about activated, charcoal. Right. But, become a herbalist, you learn a lot, especially the type of herbalist that I am. Man, came across activated charcoal, found out that this is what they're using in hospitals when people overdose. I've had plenty of aunties, plenty of family members, overdosing right on illegals. And they used activated charcoal, man, So I'm like, wow. I started looking into activated charcoal, and I'm like, activated charcoal doesn't absorb. It adsorb, like it carries it on its back and pull toxins, even certain harmful gases. It pulls it out of the body. It's like a tugboat, like all the toxins follow me, and it takes it to eliminative channels, and bloop, it's out. I tell everybody, Thor, whether you're health conscious or not, you cannot go wrong if you have activated charcoal in your house, especially if you have small children.
Yeah.
Because get a hold of some pine salt or some Clorox, you know what people have in their house, the household supplies, right? And
Yeah.
children, some children, just do certain things and mess with things that they have no business messing with, drinking stuff, what have you, and you got an issue. Well, if you have activated charcoal in your home, you don't have to call 911, or not saying that people shouldn't do it, but you don't have to do that right away. The first thing you have to do is get charcoal in the body of that child. So if it's Clorox or something even that's lethal, fatal, what have you, you get to the
Yeah.
child in time with the activated charcoal, you put it in water and just, they got a little black mustache. And get that charcoal in them, they're good to go, man. Activated charcoal is something that every household should have in it.
I
Every
agree.
household should have their medical kit or their medical cabinet. I got a whole cabinet. Every household should have it. So activated charcoal is so powerful, it pulls out the toxins, the heavy metals, what have you. So I added that to the full body detox, right? This full body detox is banging, right? Because it deals with the blood and lymphatic system. It deals with the cardiovascular system, which a lot of people neglect. A lot of people, before I made the full body detox, they were neglecting the heart.
Mm.
You got the liver, gallbladder, and spleen. Then you have the lungs, respiratory system, the kidneys, bladder, adrenals, and then the colon, right? So all of those are already kicking major backside. But then when you throw in the activated charcoal before you go to bed, you add it to the water, you drink it, and you're doing the detox. Man, you talking about some serious log jammers every morning, man. Log jammers, because you got the colon herbs and you got activated charcoal. Whatever's not supposed to be in your body, it's coming out. And
Yeah.
the key thing is that activated charcoal. You cannot go wrong, people, with activated charcoal. I don't care what it is. So I don't care what type of detox you're doing. It's not complete without activated charcoal. Even your hospitals use it, right?
Yeah.
You're not going to find a lot of, dietary supplements, nutritional supplements, herbal supplements in hospital, but you're going to find activated charcoal there. In every hospital in America, you're going to find activated charcoal. Activated charcoal is plant matter, is burnt plant matter. You can make it from bamboo, coconut, and willow bark. Now they have one for dogs, for animals, that's made out of hardwood. I don't recommend that one, for humans, but that'll get the job done for kangaroos, horses, cats, dogs, what have you. But for humans, man, bamboo, coconut shell, and the willow bark will get the job done.
Yeah.
Very alkaline too.
Yeah, there's a thing called takasumi in Japan. It's the activated bamboo charcoal. They actually make a black bread with it.
Wow.
And a lot of people who are gluten intolerant or sensitive or allergies,
Yeah.
they're actually able to eat this bread because it has the takasumi bamboo charcoal in it. And the doctor, I'm forgetting his name, who he sells this supplement, it was funny. He's like, he developed this allergy where he can't eat sushi anymore, right? So in my head, I'm like, yeah, you're eating toxic fish with some heavy metals in it, and it's accumulated in your system. So his answer was, well, now I can eat it again because I took this charcoal and I no longer get the allergic reaction. So that shows you, yeah.
It's blowing up because, man, out here, man, they got activated charcoal in the ice cream, man, and certain food products. Like,
wow.
Man, when I first started in 1999, activated charcoal was not popular, and it started picking up steam around 2003, 2004, what have you. And now,
yeah,
it's everywhere. The toothpaste got it now. People found out what it can do for tooth whitening, what have you. So activated charcoal is real popular, especially on the West Coast. I'm in Arizona, California. It's huge out here, man. It's in the food, man. Activated charcoal is actually in certain foods.
And we're going to make it even more popular because it's just one of these simple, one ingredient, tried and true. I have a course in 101s where I actually go through the history of how we first stumbled upon charcoal. A lot of these things, we listened to nature. We saw animals doing it. After a fire. After a fire, they saw animals eating this burnt wood.
Yeah. One of my favorite biblical scriptures is Job chapter 7, verse 8. Where We as human beings are being told to ask of the beasts, right? We're told to talk to animals, go learn from animals. We are told to go learn from the earth. We're told to go learn from the fowl of the air and the fish of the sea. And when you understand that symbolism there, like is mind-boggling, man, because we learn from the animal. You know, I remember in South Central, periodically our dog would get sick, right? And being
Yeah.
hopeful, you know, veterinarians didn't exist. We didn't take our animals to the veterinarian, you know. So our animals had to depend on nature, right? And so when our dog was sick, man, our dog would not eat for 3, 4, 5 some days, man. But we would catch the dog periodically eating grass. It'll be gnawing on the grass, man.
Hmm.
Then days later, it would just be spitting up like this clear mucus, man. And then by like day 5, day 6, what have you, man, the dog would have his energy again, playing with you, what have you. And I look back on that now, you know, having the mindset that I have now, I look back on that and I'm like, damn, the dog didn't go to school, didn't read any medical books, but the damn dog, despite being domesticated, knew how to heal itself. It didn't
Yeah.
go to the local pharmacy and bark for some medicine, what have you. It turned to the grass and healed itself. So we can learn a lot from following the animals, not just doggy style and tiger style, all those sexual positions, but some other things.
Yeah, listening to nature, following it. When I first learned about, the fortifications and went down the rabbit hole of the history of foods, and starting in the 70s and 80s when we started fortifying, I said, hey, let me look at my dog food. And lo and behold, on the back of my dog food, there it was,
Mm,
vitamin A, this, vitamin D, this, all fortified. And I said, oh my God, I'm poisoning my dog.
yes.
So I immediately eliminated that, right? And I said, well, okay, what do dogs come from? Wolves. What do wolves eat? Wolves eat raw meat and meat. I said, oh, I'm gonna put my dog. My dog's a German Shepherd. Put him on Kodiak the Shepherd. Put him on the raw meat diet. And DJEHUTY for like 4 or 5 days, he would wake up and just throw up yellow bile, and then
Wow.
diarrhea, yellow. And I said, look at all, he's detoxing from that fortification of 2 years of kibble.
Yeah.
And then once he got through that week, now he's thriving,
Yeah. Absolutely.
and the veterinarian's like, hey, you got to bring your dog in for that yearly thing. And I'm like, you know what, man? Like, and obviously a dog is a more of an extreme example than a human, but
Yeah.
it's like, what are we doing? These are dogs. This is a dog.
Yeah.
Like, why am I going to put my dog through this pipeline
Yeah.
of big pharma and the veterinary?
Yeah.
And you start to add it up. Like, if everyone did this, a lot of these peoples would go out of business, man.
It's the ching, man. It's all about the ching. I mean, vaccinating a dog, man, like it's crazy, man. But see, our dogs, our animals, I should say, our pets, they end up with the same diseases, the same pathologies that we do because we give them
Mhm.
the dog version of the SAD. Their food is chemically processed. When you give your dog the raw flesh, that's that dog's natural diet.
Mhm.
We kill the dog. What the dog was spitting up was not saying it was you. I mean, you purchased it, but it was what those manufacturers made with all those chemicals, additives
Mhm.
that did your dog in. That was actually killing your dog, was harming your dog, and on the way to prematurely killing your dog.
Yeah, and I did some research and started. I love the anecdotal. I love the stories, and I started just reading and watching videos and looking at people like who live on a farm who just,
Yeah,
wolves,
yeah,
dogs evolved from wolves. How did that happen? They were just eating our scraps. So
yeah,
people are like, what do you feed your dog? I feed it the scraps.
yeah,
And people are like, oh, my dog lives till 17, 18 years old. And it's like, yeah, only those city dogs live till 12 and 13. He's like, our country dogs, they
yeah.
live until 18, 19 years old. And it's the same thing with human beings. Are you a city human being with a standard American diet, or are you being a country natural human being where we're really designed to live to 120 years plus?
Absolutely,
And
absolutely.
when I first read about the Taoists and Taoism and these people living to 300 and 400, I didn't read that line and say, this is bullshit. I read that line and was like, yeah, I believe that. That's
Yeah, yeah,
totally in the realm of possibility.
yeah. Absolutely, absolutely.
So what do you think about I was doing my reading and my watching my videos like you do, and I came across this documentary Spirits of the Pine. Have you heard about how this one?
Of the pine, it may be in the collection. I'm not for sure. What is this documentary about?
So it's about turpentine and how down in the deep south that the slaves when a master would get sick and have no other resort, he would go to the mom or the grandma and they would bring this turpentine to,
Pine bark.
yeah.
Turpentine is from pine. That's an old school remedy, a southern remedy, and it's still you can't. It's not as readily available as it was, back in the day. But it's still on the scene, and that on the scene, and that's something, man, that got a lot of the slaves. But even after slavery, on the what do you call that? Um, oh man, the name slips my mind right now. But a lot of people had knowledge. They had their remedy. They had knowledge of their remedy, and turpentine was one. My uncle tells me about the turpentine that my grandmother would make. My grandmother was an illiterate, right? My grandmother was the most powerful woman I ever met in my life. She was an illiterate, couldn't read, write, what have you. But you couldn't touch her in the kitchen. You couldn't touch her with medicine. You couldn't touch her with any of those things, man. She was connected to the divine.
Wow.
And my uncle, man, he just tells me the most awesome stories about my grandmother and just healing. My herbalist healing ability is paternal. It comes from my paternal grandmother. Now, the spiritual side comes from my maternal grandmother, but I lean more towards the paternal grandmother because I watched her. She's from Mississippi, and she had her own garden. Y'all go out there and pick me this, that, what have you. Bring it in, come back in an hour, boom. I mean, house smelling good. You had a nice, wholesome meal. My grandmother did everything from scratch. It was rare that she got stuff from the corner store. She had a garden. She did everything. When we used to do jam, jellies, what have you, grandma made it. Grandma made everything. When we had flapjack, which are those big country pancakes, grandma made that from scratch. No books, measuring utensils, nothing. And was the world's greatest cook, man. I'm plant-based, but I could still taste grandma's food to this very day. I'm 54 now. I could still taste Grandma Sis cooking, man. Mississippi home cooking, man. The woman, she was a monster. She was a beast in that kitchen, man. Greatest woman, along with my mother, that I ever knew. Greatest woman that I ever knew, that I ever met, along with my mother.
That's a blessing. That's a blessing. That's another thing, in people say, hey, when was America ever great? And I think what gets lost in that argument is like, when you start to look at certain things from the 50s and 60s, women getting married and having kids at 20. Now they're getting married at 39. Well, what does that mean? That means when we were younger, more people had grandmothers.
Yeah.
And now you look to today, grandmothers and grandfathers are dying earlier and people are having kids later. And what does that mean? A lack of wisdom.
I was just about to say that because they're younger, and they haven't really learned it, right? They don't have the experience and they're not getting the studies. The wisdom is lacking. I grew up with a lot of wisdom. You see, my mother was married, was a wife, a mother of 4 children by age 24. My mother got married at age 20, had her first child at 21, had her first house at 22. And then she had her last 2 children in 1972, 4 children. So by 1972, at age 24, my mother, married, wife, mother, homeowner, the whole time, man. This was back in the 70s. And so what has happened over the decades is things have been pushed back, you see. So in the 80s, you got married instead of 20. In the 70s, at age 20, you got married at 30. You see, then you end up, instead of getting your first house at 30, you got your first house at 40. And now you got people getting married for the first time, if they're getting married, at 40. And just now getting their first home at 50. You see, so when we talk about make America great again, and people are like, when was America ever great? It's the little things that we take for granted
Mm-hmm.
that made America great. I mean, having a grandmother, man. When my parents wasn't at home and we were locked out of the out of our house, my grandmother only stayed a couple of blocks away from us. We always had a place we could walk to. Grandma sis was always there. We had
Mm-hmm.
uncles and aunts, man. We had hard times, man. We had family that would come through and loan moms and pops money, and vice versa. We do it for them. We had family. The biggest thing, man, that is adversely impacting me is family, man. I'm talking about extended family. I grew up, and I had one of the world's greatest childhood, despite South Central and the gang violence and the crack cocaine and all that crazy stuff. A lot of people trip when I say it, but I had a very magical childhood.
Yeah.
Now, when I make my transition, I'm going to hang out in my childhood neighborhood and childhood days before I move on, man. That's how great it was, man. The uncles and the aunties, man. You know, aunts in the kitchen with my grandmother cooking, pops with my uncles outside shooting the breeze, man, drinking a little Miller Light beer, talking and talk, man. All the cousins playing, man. I mean, it's just beautiful, man. Just family, just that soul essence, that beautiful Motown music playing. That's what's in me, man. I raised my children like that, even though it's modern day times, Thor.
Yeah.
I raised my children like that, man. You know, I still do soul food. It's different from the 70s and 80s, but I do soul food, man, you know. And I have Marvin Gaye playing and the Supremes, man, and the Temptations and the Four Tops, man. And it really makes a difference, man. I mean, it really, all my children, man, it really makes it helps to stabilize them. It helps to give them a foundation, man. It helps them to feel good. They've never heard parents arguing, what have you. You know, I improved on that from my childhood, but they wake up to the music, man, the beautiful music, man, and the knowledge being shared between, you know, mother and father. You know, they go to the refrigerator, there's always food in it. They go into the cupboards, there's always food in it. I don't always
Yeah.
have that there, you know, you see. So I improved upon the good that I grew up with, you know. So just sharing that predicated upon, you know, make America great. A lot of people, they don't know that part of America's greatness, man. And for me, it was the ultimate. To hell with
Yeah.
all, you know, house and car. Yeah, it's all fine, but it's about the home life. Do you have, you know, good smelling food? Do you have a woman in the kitchen preparing the meals, man? You know, do you have a man, you know, cutting the grass, man, and doing chores around the house, you know, that you can see, you know, and learn from, you know? Do you have those things? And we don't have those things. And once upon a time, we did. And that is what made America great. It's not necessarily a physical thing, but, you know, a
Yeah.
personal thing, an interpersonal type thing. And we miss that, you know, and maybe we're not doing a good enough job to explain that to people, you know, because when was America ever great? What have you? And it was like, yo, I'm from South Central, hard times, all of that. And I'm telling you, back then, things were great compared to today. Things were great. And I miss it, man. If I had a time machine, I'd go back and hang out in the 70s and 80s, man. I really would.
Yeah. It was special time, and it was perspective, nostalgia of like, hey, when was America ever great? Oh, well, we used to go home when the streetlights came on. You know, we used to ride our bikes to school. We used to not, be addicted to these screens. We used to get our sugar from sugarcane in the
Yeah,
Caribbean, not corn syrup
yeah,
in Indiana. You know.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely, man. We're a different breed. If you like, I'm listening to you, and it's like, no matter where we come from, because I have people in my platform who went to school in San Fernando, right? And it's like the same old, you know. So San Fernando, South Central, but how things were, you know, like, yeah, Saturdays, man, you need your cereal and you're watching the cartoons, what have you, and then you go to school, man, and you're watching the Facts of Life and Happy Days and Laverne and Shirley, and like that genre, man, it was just so special, man. And we don't have that, you know. We're dealing with the cultural Marxism today, man. We don't have that. So a lot of people can't see the greatness of the past, man. It was really a great time to be alive, man. You know, approaching girls, man, there was no internet, you know, fishing and catfishing and all that stuff there. You had to really step, you know, to a female, man, you know, and, you know, carry books home, you know, call them up on the telephone. And I mean, just the good old days, man. You had your phone book, man, getting the numbers,
Yeah.
dates at the local arcade, man.
There's so many lessons, so many things we could take from back in the day and implement in our life today. Just some analog things, penmanship. I have a lot of people just put pen to paper. And
my boys are homeschool, and that's what they do, man. Their homeschooling protocol I created is predicated upon the 70s and the 80s, man. I got the books from the 70s and the 80s, and that's what they use, man. I don't really care about like what's going on right now. I care about how things used to be because I understand where we are today and what's going on. But that's a great point that you made about writing, the penmanship, man. Huge. That's huge, man. I still write, man. I still write. I may use my little gadgets, what have you, but I still write.
Me too. So important. So important. Hands grow the brain. There was a nun study, and these nuns in Italy, they were not getting Alzheimer's or dementia, and the word started to get out. Everyone else in the village and the community was getting Alzheimer's and dementia. These nuns weren't, and they said, "Oh, it's God, it's religion. They have faith." And the scientists and doctors came in. They were like, "Nah, there's something else going on here." So they went and studied them. And what were the nuns doing every day? Penmanship. They were putting pen to paper every day. And when they did the autopsies, some of them even had the signs of the disconnected of brain circuits, but they didn't show any symptoms because what they proved was it sparked neurogenesis in the brain. So one of the programs we're doing is with senior citizens of like, hey, let's make senior citizens pen pals, and let's get them not only reliving some beautiful memories like we spoke about, but hands grow the brain, get their hands to paper. So
great idea.
I want to know what you got. Charcoal in DJEHUTY's medicine cabinet. What else is in your medicine cabinet? Your must-haves in your cabinet.
Without a doubt, I most definitely have my hand on more herbs, man, than anybody in America. And a lot of that has to do with me. I'm a Taurus. So Taurus, that's why I have so many books. But I also have a lot of crystals. I have a lot of oracles. I have a lot of movies, thousands of documentaries, thousands of movies. So whatever I'm into, I have a lot, So when I like exotic plants, man, I love exotic plants. And the door just opened up for me when I did APC because it's very difficult in getting a lot of the exotic plants, I help, and I also make the products for Mandingo.com. Which is that's for manhood, products. They consulted with like 6 months before they got up and running, and I believe they were the beneficiaries of all the hard work, man, of getting the exotic herbs, man, from Southeast Asia and Africa. And APC we use herbs from Europe, America, global. That's part of the success. Is that I'm global. So if you're into Ayurveda, no problem. I got you. If you're into TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, I got you. If you're into traditional European herbalism, I got you. It doesn't matter where you're from. Like, I got you. I have, planet Earth. Like the song, he got the whole world in his hand. That's Tootie Rock, with the plants, man. So I have a bunch of stuff. I love health. Products, man. So you got your greens, man. You got your moringa. You got your shilajit, which is not a plant but a resin, which is some good stuff. But I even have stuff, man, that's not even like plant based, like the stabilized oxygen, man. My ozone machine is going on right now. It's programmed to kind of go throughout the day.
What's that? Tell me about that.
Ozone, man, I got into ozone. I met one of the greatest human beings, man. Unfortunately, he passed. They locked him up. They set him up. Federal government. He was one of the most brilliant human beings I ever met. His name was Dave Hinkson, and he was the owner of Water Oz. He was the owner of Water Oz, and he had found a way to convert ionics into organic and became a millionaire. Just overnight success. Bill was a genius. He learned how to build ozone machines. And he learned how to build ozone machines. And so in befriending Dave Hinkson, I learned a lot about, I was moving outside of the plant realm into these other realms of healing. I'm very holistic. That's where the success comes from, very holistic. And Dave introduced me to ozone. You know why it smells fresh after a thunderstorm?
Yeah.
Because of the ozone. Ozone is enhanced oxygen. It is O3, regular oxygen O2. So when you have a thunderstorm, the lightning bolts split the O2 molecules in half and they become O1. You have a whole bunch of O1s out in the atmosphere that are looking for O2s to connect to get back together. So those O1s connect with O2s, and that's where ozone comes from. It never fails, Thor. After a thunderstorm, it never fails. It always smells fresh.
I love that smell.
Because ozone is nature's purifier. It's nature's purifier. So ozone became this medical therapy in the late 90s, early 2000s in Europe and America. It took off more in Europe is more health conscious than we are. I don't when it comes to America and and Europe, I'll take Europe by a mile. So in America, like it just got through the door a couple of years ago. But back in the 90s and the 2000s, it was different. They were locking people up for this because ozone was actually healing people. The so-called AIDS, acquired immune deficiency syndrome, the cancer, the genital herpes. When you mix the ozone with the alkalinity, it was knocking the disease out just like that. Almost Royal Raymond Rife. I don't know if you're familiar with Royal Raymond Rife from back in the 30s and 40s. He developed a machine, which is really the precursor to the ozone machine. Dr. Royal Raymond Rife created a machine. There was a chair, right? And it was an intravenous process whereby your blood came out through one tube, went through the generator, ozone generator underneath the seat, and the purified blood came back in on the other hand. So people could actually just get up and they were straight. Well, the United States government found out about it like they did to Marija McCain. They snatched up all that technology. There's nothing new under the sun. A lot of stuff we have today was on the scene 100 years ago, but it just wasn't the time for them. It threatened the cabal, the medical, cabal, big pharma, and all the other industries, glasses, wheelchairs, all of that stuff there, all of those industries.
Yeah.
So today you can get an ozone machine for, several $100s, and you can use it in your water to purify your water. Man, anybody listening to this podcast, this stream, man, if you're drinking tap water today,
yeah,
you're light years behind. you're so there's no excuse, man. Anybody drinking tap water today, like you're playing Russian roulette, and I have a reverse osmosis. I have all type of water machine. That's where my money went. People, you can invest in a reverse osmosis machine for under $500 or $500. Come on, people. You can get an ozone machine for under $100 now to ozonate the water. We're talking, getting rid of the chlorine, man, and the fluoride, which is the rat poison, the atrazine, and all that crazy stuff. And we're talking triple filtration, including carbon, the activated charcoal that we were talking about. People, $500 to drinking the best water outside of nature.
Yeah,
man, please, man. Please. Reverse osmosis. Then you can either do hydrogenated water, oxygen water, which is pretty much antioxidant water. It goes after the scavengers, the free radical scavengers. The scavengers in the body. So this is pretty much drinking antioxidant. That's what it is. It's free radical, anti-free radical water, whether it's hydrogenated or oxygenated, and you make it yourself. And it will work wonders if you're dealing with so-called, degenerative disease. Now, you also have ionized water, which is medical water, because this water is not natural. Nature's water is 7 pH. But with medical water, which is ionized water, you're bringing up that pH almost to like a 14, right? But the thing about it is when you put it in your body, it goes down by 2. So 14 pH becomes 12 pH. and you're drinking this high pH water for a brief amount of time to help bring up the body's pH. This is in addition to other things you may be doing, right? You may put somebody on a protocol, what have you. It's going to stabilize that pH in time. Well, this modality here speeds it up for people that are suffering with chronic conditions. They may be depressed, suicidal, what have you. So we have all of these remedies here that are non-injurious, injurious, that bring people back to form in a shorter amount of time. That's why it's called medical water. And so once you get the results, you go back to regular 7 pH water. Understand, when we say medical and we do a 14, 12, 11, all that high pH water, I don't know. I don't think most people realize it, but that's medical water, because nothing in, you're not going to find water with a 9 pH in nature. You're not going to find water. You're not going to find that. Okay. You may find some water with a 7.5, like if you go to Lourdes, right? The Lourdes pool in France, I believe, and certain spots in Mexico, the healing, the healing water centers, those are like 7.5, 7.7. That's about it, right? It kind of is, the water's kind of white, kind of murky because of the minerals, the alkaline minerals, right? The calcium, the magnesium, the manganese, the potassium, the sodium. Man, that water got it all. That's why they call it miracle water, miracle healing water. The miracle is really the minerals. It's really the minerals. You know how you said earlier, like, let me get the clean water, then I'll worry about the minerals later.
Yeah.
That's a component of it, So when you have that type of water and you ozonate, now ozonation, people, is for purification purposes. You don't have to ozonate your water. But man, our world is so toxic. You have to ozonate, you have to purify. You have to cleanse. You have to detox. This is the most toxic time that planet Earth has ever experienced, and we did it. You can't ask me about breatharianism because in America, I'm going to tell you no.
Right.
It's toxic. What are you going to be breathing in? You can be a breatharian breathing in toxins. Now, how intelligent is that? You're going to do more harm. You're going to do more harm than good. You see. So
the breatharians were in the mountains in such pristine. Their oxygen was so nutrient dense.
Doing that, man. You got to go to the Himalayas to do it. You can't do that in Wilmington, California.
No.
You're out of your mind, man. You can't do that in San Pedro, California. You can't do that in Brooklyn, New York. You're out of your mind. You see. So real quick on the oxygen, man, if you don't have pipes underneath your home to purify your water, people, get you an ozone machine, man. Get your calcium carbonate drops. Do whatever you can do to counter the chlorine. We're just so out of pocket today, man. It just blows my mind to put chlorine in water, and then people wonder why they come out white, ashy, like ashy skin.
Vitiligo.
Fucking, you've been marinating in chlorine, man. You've been marinating in bleach during your soak. It's in your tissue. So your natural moisturizer has been stripped. So you all dry and ashy, you're scratching, and not natural.
And then they go buy some toxic lotions to put it all over their skin.
The government is never going to change. So we have to change. I was in Miami with Gary last year, man, and I remember his brother, David Grimberg. And Gary and I, we were talking about something, and I said, I'm 54. And David said, 51. I said, yeah, I'm 54, man. And what's the secret? I'm like, I don't believe in all the fountain of youth and all that crazy stuff. I'm like, dude, it's what you do day in and day out. I don't drink municipal tap water. I don't bathe in regular water. I don't do the things that the masses of the people do. See, I have the knowledge and I apply it, right? And then the money comes, and so I can get the infrared sauna. I can get the steam sauna with the hot stones, kind of like the sweat lodge that Native Americans use. I can afford all of those gadgets that I use throughout the week, day in and day out. The movement, very important. You know, the soaking, you know, very important. The meditation, very important. You know, I do chakra balancing, very important. I put into myself. Hey man, I don't vote. I'm not voting for Kamala or Trump. I'm 54. I've never registered to vote. I took one vote for DJEHUTY, right? And that dude is handling business every single day, every single week, every single month. I'm straight. I'm straight. So I have the apothecary in the kitchen with the activated charcoal. I got everything, bro. I got the bentonite clay. I have the zeolite clay. I got it all. Name it, 9 times out of 10, I have it. Essential oils. I got it all, man. I don't use no pine. So my mother used pine. So that played a role in her developing pancreatic cancer. I use essential oil of pine and lemon. To clean. Yeah, you know, you hydrogen peroxide, you know, essential oils, lavender, tea tree oil. Not this stuff that you can't pronounce. Products with names of ingredients that you can't pronounce. You know? And you clean it with the windows closed, you better get an ozone machine because you're inhaling all of those toxins in, man, and they stay in. They lodge in your tissues, and you wonder why people got breast cancer, ovarian cancer, prostate cancer. Man, please. This is a society of death, and there's no freaking excuse. I'm from South Central, broke as a joke, man, but I cultivate this store.
Yeah.
That's all it's mine, man. I invest what comes through these hands of this mind into health products, man. And that's why I feel good. That's why I talk like this every single day. That's why I tell people I can't afford to be sick. I got too much work to do. Man, you pretty energetic. I'm energetic every day, which is why I don't like to go out in society. Because the people move like zombies. And I got to talk negative underneath my breath, right? Zombie move, get out the way. I move fast because I know where I'm going. I'm full of life. I'm full of energy, man. It's the lifestyle. It's the love of life. It's the purpose of life. It's eating good, feeling good, looking good, doing good, sounding good, like that. And the government's not going to give that to us. I have to do this for myself. You have to do what you're doing for yourself.
That's the most important vote. That's how you really vote. We vote with our wallet. Everyone says vote with your wallet, but we are the market, and what we demand, what we buy, we drive the market. And people got to make the right choices. You know, you start saying, "Hey, I'm not going to eat that," and then they're going to start to pivot because they're not going to be making money off of selling that.
It's so simple, Thor. You know, I just sit back, just like it's so simple. It's so freaking. Just don't purchase something. See, but the laziness, the addictions, you know, all the excuses, man. So a lot of it, Thor, comes back to us. A lot of it.
What do you think about the whole cannabis movement now, and it's being legalized, and everybody's smoking en masse now?
People, look out, man. The government is involved, man. So it's not the quality of cannabis, man, that was on the scene when this stuff was quote unquote illegal. But it should have never been banned in the first place, man. We talking, you know, corporate politics, DuPont. You know, who was afraid of cannabis, man. Do you know, man, I've actually seen this video actually exists where this dude makes these bricks out of cannabis. Dude, they're stronger. They're more sturdy than concrete bricks, man.
I saw that.
Man, so DuPont knew that, right? Man, these people were making ropes out of cannabis, the strongest rope that you ever got.
Hemp, right?
Hemp. Strongest rope you ever got your hands on. Bricks for production, you know, for you know, building, you know, architecture, what have you. All came from a plant, man, from hemp. Now, getting back to this, the whole cannabis thing, what a lot of people don't know, cannabis is an entheogen. It's an entheogen. An entheogen is a substance that awakens the God within. That's the literal, you can look it up. This is the literal definition of entheogen.
How do you spell entheogen? How do you spell it?
E-N.
E-N-T-H-E-O.
G-E-E.
I like that.
You see the Theo in entheogen?
Yeah.
Theo is God, theology. right?
Entheogen.
So an entheogen is a substance that awakens the God within. Now, entheogens catch a lot of hell in America because the opposite or the polar opposite of an entheogen is the drugs, the illegal drugs that put the God within to sleep. So you see that with people on the crack cocaine. You see what's going on with the meth, the modern meth addiction, opioid addiction. The God within is to sleep in these individuals. It is the entheogen that will reverse that, right? The tabernacle iboga, which is the godfather of the entheogens. Check out some videos on that. There's a lot of videos on ayahuasca, but what a lot of people don't know, ayahuasca is second fiddle to iboga. Some people call it iboga.
I've heard about iboga.
Iboga. Yeah. These are
skull, the brain opener.
Absolutely. I got into entheogens back in 2014, man, and my life hasn't been the same. I got my hands on the blue lotus flower. I got my hands on the kana. I got my hands on the tata, African dream herb. I got my hands on the kalia. I got my hands on the Selene capensis. I told you I'm a hoarder. When I'm into something, I get it all. And
wait, go. Hold on. Tell me about the blue lotus flower.
The blue lotus, that was something that the ancient people of Kemet used to use, man. Slightly aphrodisiac, but more so entheogenic and also nootropic, right? We say nootropics, but I say nootropics, the correct pronunciation. We're talking brain food, man. We're talking brain opener. We're talking pineal gland stimulator. That's what you get with the entheogens and the nootropics, or that some people call nootropics. Blue lotus, nootropic, entheogen, and also aphrodisiac or libidogen.
Yeah.
All three in one. So if you take blue lotus before you go to bed, you're gonna have some great sleep, man. And if you're like myself, I'm a dreamer. I dream every night that I quote unquote go to bed. I dream every night, right? I go to the lower astral realm, vivid dreams. Everything is beautiful. Many of my dreams are prophetic. They're omenistic, what have you. If I was to not come back from sleep, I'd be okay. Because just as my life is magical on this side, my life is also magical on the other side. So I can't lose in life. On this side, the 3D realm, or even in the lower astral realm, I can't lose. But the blue lotus flower, Thor, it can take you places, man. It's entheogenic. It's mild compared to Entata, but it works wonders, man. Unfortunately, it's not out there the way I feel that it should be, but if you do your due diligence, you can find it.
It's definitely not one of the talked about ones. You know, it's not as popular as the ayahuasca.
Yeah.
The iboga, I think is. Have you ever tried iboga?
It's banned. It's actually banned. And the one time that I was attempting to get it, I got robbed from the person, on the continent, the motherland, what have you. But I'm glad that worked out, because I would have been jeopardizing, the business had it been found out that I made the sale, because it is illegal. Iboga is illegal in the United States of America. But I had a person that I was working with. This dude was 19, man, right? In Canada. He got his hand on some iboga, man, and no lie, Thor, no lie. When that dude was on the iboga, he was up here and I was down here, man. Like the diva talking to him, we're talking Confucius, we're talking Buddha, what have you. And I was just blown away at all the advice he was giving me. This 19-year-old man, but he was on the iboga. It opened him up, man. And he was a little risky dude, divergent, what have you. And I told him to be careful, and he didn't listen. And even though I knew that he was profound, he was Buddha-esque with it. His family thought he lost his mind, man, and they called the authorities, police, and that little brother, man, was locked up in a mental institution, and it was drugged. Yeah, like night and day.
Gets worse.
They got me on these drugs. I mean, from talking like Buddha to just slurring his words, what have you, medications, what have you. But iboga is the grandfather of all of the entheogens. I'm not crapping on ayahuasca. Ayahuasca is number 2. Ayahuasca is some good. If you can afford to get to the rainforest and partake of the ayahuasca experience, you will not go wrong. Because ayahuasca is an entheogen. It awakens a God within, but more importantly for people in the Western world, it helps us to rid ourselves of so much on other levels through a physical medium. You probably heard about a lot of people throwing up or vomiting during the ayahuasca ritual. What's coming out of them are toxic emotions, okay? Toxic astral debris. And it's coming out in the medium of the vomit, of the regurgitation. So when these people vomit, a lot of issues they had sexually, morally, spiritually, astrally, what have you, is gone. Is gone. And ayahuasca is one of the few entheogens that can do that, but it cannot touch iboga. Iboga is banned in America because iboga will help us. When I say us, I'm talking about Americans, to heal ourselves from crack cocaine, heroin, opiate, you name it. You name it. Ayahuasca is great, but iboga knocks out everything. And that's why it's banned in the United States of America and will always be banned in the United States of America. Because after all, Thor, we're 5% of the world's population, but we consume 55% of all drugs on planet Earth. Can you say? Can you say?
And that's what's making a toxic society. I had a friend who did iboga, and I think he was laying on the ground and he saw his skull open, and he came out of his skull and thought he was dead for, I think, a few hours. And I think he had somebody like holding space for him, or the word. But the way he described that story to me, I was like, I think I'm good. I think I'm good on that one. I'm not. I'm not going to do that one.
Yeah.
But it has like a 50% success rate, I think, on sobriety, or even higher, of people getting off addictions.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, they've even alkaloided where you have ibogaine now, and hell, that's banned in America, and they do that to get through those channels, those regulatory channels. Like in America, we have like the FDA. So that's why we have so much standardized things on the market today. It's to get through the legal and political loopholes of the FDA. And that's why we have so many standardized things on the market. It's political because the government is in the way. I think people under the Fifth Amendment, freedom of choice, personal liberty, should be able to get their hands on whatever it is that they want that does not harm other people, that is not harming the government. And if you're not murdering and destroying property, there's really no harm. But I think that we should have a right to that. Religious reasons, spiritual reasons, medical reasons, what have you. And I'm not averse to authority figures in a religion or a particular, spiritual group that is well versed on a particular plant. I'm not averse to that. It's like with for example, like vaccines.
You just got me another strike on YouTube.
You're gonna have to bleep that out, man. You're gonna have to bleep that out. As a matter of fact, I'm not gonna even say that. Maybe we can. Yeah, I'm not gonna deal with that.
It's okay. I got X and Rumble and all these other things, but keep going. It's good.
Man, I haven't been on YouTube in a minute, man. A dude interviewed me, man, gave me the link, went to it, and the video was removed, man. So that's why I don't go back to YouTube, because I'm free. I'm a free speaker, so things come out. I don't have time to monitor all of these things here.
Same.
But anyway, I'm not averse to certain people, co-signing on certain things. We're gonna
right to try. Try.
Yeah, there's 12 people here, so the person is not by themselves, experimenting, what have you. So I am most definitely, pro that. I was going to make an example using the verboten B word, but I think you guys, get my point. It's so crazy, man, where we are.
It's crazy. You can't even So I was new to YouTube. I got my first 1,000 followers pretty quick. I'm in my groove. I'm doing great. And I read a study that said the V word, quoted a study like literature, not my opinion, not any bad, foul thought police. And they hit me with the ban, removed my video for quoting the study. So that's when I was like, really, man? Like, and but so that actually brings me to my next thought and question. What I get a lot, and I'm sure you get a lot, and you mentioned earlier with Dr. Sebi. Everyone wants to know what I think about Dr. Sebi, and I have my opinions and my thoughts, and then I think you know way more about him than I do. But really, what I'm curious is what do you think about how do we navigate these conversations and educate our people and help people without stepping on the toes of whoever? And then B, do you think he was targeted? Do you think it was a conspiracy and he was killed? Or do you think other things happened? And I don't think it was a conspiracy. I don't think they killed him because he was healing things. I think other things. But what are your whole thoughts on that thing?
Sebi set himself up. Sebi pissed me off when he did that very stupid move, transferring $25,000. It just Sadie was behind the times, man. There are things set up where you can transfer your money digitally if you do your due diligence, man. So to travel with 25,000, he was asking to be, picked up, and because he didn't have access, to his lifestyle, and the thing, he was big. He was CMOS, man. I mean, Sabi did like a lot of stuff, man. He was a radical with it too. And he got himself in a prison, man, that was like cold, real cold. It was almost as if he was, in penitentiary and purposely being targeted. And I'm not saying that's the case, but it's akin to that when you understand the conditions that he was in. Now, I don't believe that, somebody had an axe to grind, with Sabi. I truly believe Sabi set himself up. Sabi believes that he was targeted. He told his daughter they're trying to kill him, what have you. But Sabi developed pneumonia from having weak lungs, and he didn't have access to do his form of healing.
Right.
And like my grandmother, he just withered away. The spirit was gone. There's the last picture of him sitting down, his head down, spiritually deflated, no medicine, the diet, no food, what have you. So Sabi, man, Sabi put himself in that position. I've known Sabi since 2001. I never spoke a lot about him in the public because the truth of the matter is, I really wasn't cool with Dr. Sabi. There was a lot I didn't like about Dr. Sabi. Dr. Sabi, he was a Sagittarius. Sabi was a manipulator with words. He was a showman. And I know for a fact that Sabi didn't do a lot of things that he used to be on KJLH radio in LA, 102.3 FM, owned by Stevie Wonder. Sabi didn't do a lot of the stuff that he was. You will never. Let me tell you something. If you see me coming out of McDonald's, best believe I use the restroom. Best believe. If you ever see me come out of any commercial facility, best believe I went in to wash my hands or to relieve myself. Right. I don't mess around. So I never worry about being caught like a lot of people have been caught, eating pork. Sister Sanu, Jewel Puka was caught eating pork in New York, what have you. That has never happened to me. It will never happen to me. Right? I know how to navigate. Sabi would be on the radio blasting black people for eating hot dogs and pork and chicken and what have you. And then he would turn around and eat meat. He would blast meat on the radio. But in Honduras, he would have plates of fish. He would drink Heineken beer. He would eat Lay's potato chips. Goat milk, cheese. The things that he condemned. See, I don't have a problem with people with anybody. I don't care what your diet is. With God is my way. I don't care what the next man, next woman is diet. What happened? That's on you. But when you're a hypocrite, if you're going to publicly point the finger at something, and then I find out that you're doing it, you're consuming it, that's a problem for me in the ballpark or the
Yeah.
area of integrity. And so Sabi didn't have that, from what I knew of him. When the Michael Jackson thing jumped off and I got the information, I was like, damn, Mike got money. Why can't Mike pay Dr. Sabi? And then the cook for Dr. Sabi, Sunshine. I'm so blessed that everybody comes into my life. I always get the truth, Thor. I always get the truth, right?
Yeah.
Sunshine comes on the scene, and I talk to Sunshine in my apartment for about 5 or 6 hours. And Sunshine tells me the deal. Tehuti, I'm the one who took care of Michael Jackson. I prepared the meals. I did everything. But Sabi sends Michael Jackson a bill for $200,000.
Jeez.
Sunshine told me that the bill was only worth 12 or 14,000. But when I remember what Sabi did to Teddy Pendergrass, the R&B singer Teddy Pendergrass, when he was in the hospital, when he was paralyzed from the automobile incident in Philadelphia,
That's right.
Sabi charged him $400,000. I didn't like how Sabi's mindset was. I didn't like how his mind operated, right? See, I'm a herbalist. I know the price of every herb on the market. I know how much stuff costs. I know how much.
Yeah.
So it's like when Stevie Wonder would come to me or Bruce. I used to have a lot of people come to me. We do the consultation, and then they would say, "Okay, Tootie, what's my damage?" $100. And people would just jump. They would, for real? They're used to being exploited, robbed.
Yeah.
I didn't do that. I charged them the same price I charged the next door neighbor that I would charge you. $100, man. Just because you have millions of dollars, my price don't go up. The detox is $100. The man down the streets get it from 100. You get it for 100. Your personal financial status doesn't change anything. Now, that's how I rock. That's how I get down. But Sabi wasn't like that. Sabi figured, even though the herbs probably only cost a few hundred, few $1,000s, you have paid medical doctors $200,000, $400,000. You paid them. You got the money. So since you paid them, you can pay me. And I got a problem with that because what we do, I'm sorry. I mean, you can't really put a price on a certain thing, but when you deal with the principle, Thor, it's just not worth it. You can't do that. I can't justify charging you $200,000 because of a consultation. I'm working with you on your diet, and I didn't supply you with some nutraceuticals. In good faith, I cannot charge you $200,000, $400,000, even though you have the money. Can't do it. And Sabi was that type of dude, man. He was that type of dude. And I had an issue with that. And that's why I made my detox $100. It was a slap in the face. Sabi said a lot of crap about me behind my back. And behind a lot of other people back. He didn't like M. Siddiqui. He didn't really care for Dr. B. Serious. He didn't really care for anybody. Dr. Lailo Africa was like that. He was like that, talking crap and dissing people in their face, what have you. There's just something that I could never, ever rock with. And yes, they were my elders, but they were incorrect. And while they were my elders, in true sense, I was their elder because I'm an old soul.
I like that. You did it. Did you do a post a few days back about Michael Jackson and the doctor and his death? Was that you?
Yes.
Tell us about that. That was fascinating.
A lot of people are inquiring about my article, Michael Jackson and the Jews. It's real deep what happened to Michael Jackson. Mike made a lot of enemies, man. Mike made a lot of enemies. Arnold Klein was the doctor that is responsible for Mike going from being melanated to having his skin bleached, right? People still come at me all the time, Thor, about Michael Jackson bleaching his skin. I'm telling you, Quincy Jones backs me up. Michael Jackson removed the melanin out of his skin, and that was because he was under the influence of Arnold Klein, a member of the J Tribe. Klein was the one who got Mike on the drugs. Mike burned his hair filming a Pepsi Cola commercial in '84, I believe. And Mike was under extreme pain, man, very severe pain. And so it was Arnold Klein that Michael Jackson went to, and it was Arnold that put Michael Jackson on the painkillers. And because he was making so much money from Michael Jackson, he put Michael Jackson on additional painkillers. This is how Michael Jackson got addicted to drugs. Look, Michael Jackson was addicted to drugs, man.
Yeah.
Ever since, since 1984, man. There are stories of Michael falling out on his face. He was so high, man. I even got certain videos. My girl Pearl Jr. worked for the Jacksons. Michael Jackson, man, would be so high, man, like he didn't even know where he was, man. There's a video. It was either here or England. Mike was just out of it, but he got a phone call and was told that he had to come. Mike was high as a kite. It was sad. It was really sad, Thor, but that's what happens in that industry. When you got to perform, you got to perform. And Mike, his words were slurred. I mean, I'm laughing, but it really wasn't funny. But Mike was addicted to drugs, and Arnold Klein was the one responsible for that. Arnold Klein talked Michael into having unnecessary surgeries. You've seen the pictures of Mike from the Thriller album and the Bad. That was all Arnold Klein, man, because Arnold Klein was milking Michael Jackson, man. If I ever release this article, Michael Jackson the Jew, Mike got milked, man. Mike himself said the worst business decision he ever made was listening to those attorneys, members of the J Tribe, who told Michael Jackson, don't fight the Chandler charges. Let the insurance, you have insurance, the insurance will pay for it. And Michael Jackson listened. And so you know how we are in America. Oh, if he settled, he must be guilty. Mike wanted to fight, but his J Tribe attorneys talked him out of it. But what a lot of people don't know is those attorneys were working with other enemies of Mike. You know, Geffen, Rabbi, Smoothie, like all of these people. They just happen to be members of the J Tribe. And they were all working together. It started by allowing Michael Jackson to use his insurance to pay for that first charge. That false charge, by the way, is false. You know, Chandler was J Tribe, right? So when the authorities told him to draw a picture of Michael Jackson's penis, he drew Michael Jackson's penis as uncircumcised because that's Jewish tradition. That's the only penis he ever saw was an uncircumcised penis. Mike's penis wasn't uncircumcised. So the authorities knew he was lying, right? Read the FBI files on Michael Jackson. Dude is innocent, man. I mean, a lot of people don't know it goes that deep with the California, the state authorities, the Federal Bureau of Investigation. Mike had a lot of people looking into him, but he came out with a clean bill. Dude was innocent. First time around, the second time around. Mike had to go out the way he did because he crossed the J Tribe. And those are very vindictive people. And so when they made up their mind to destroy Michael Jackson, it was over with. All that wacko jacko, that was created by those people. All the rumors, that was created by those people. All of the stuff we hear about Michael Jackson, the negative stuff. Now, the only thing that was true is like the drugs. But all of that other stuff, man, he liked little boys, is a pedophile, and all this crazy, giving children wine, all of that. What's his name? Smoothie. He's having issues with Candace Owens right now. That dude set Mike up. Mike fell for it, man. Mike had too many J Tribe members around him, and they did his behind end. And I'm going to document it because I have all the information. I know Pearl Jr. She's done my show a couple of times. She has a lot of good information on Michael Jackson and you know what happened to him. The situation with Michael having to take drugs, right, propofol and all the other ones to get to sleep, was because Arnold Klein talked Michael Jackson into just overly bleaching his skin. And Mike took his melanin out. Mike removed his sweat glands. Klein had Michael Jackson do just insane stuff that Michael Jackson
Didn't
had
Bruce
to
Lee? You said Bruce Lee had his sweat glands removed too, right?
I love Bruce. Bruce is my dude. I've met with him in the astral plane, but Bruce, it's something about Hollywood, man. But Bruce removed his sweat glands, man. Bruce was doing some wild stuff, man. I may write about that in the future. Bruce Lee was doing some pretty wild Hollywood type stuff to his body. Now Bruce was a go-getter, right? Bruce was miracle man. But see, Bruce was attempting to lift 400 pounds over his head. That's how Bruce, a lot of people don't know this is how Bruce Lee injured his back. And Chuck Norris will back up this story here. Bruce Lee was lifting 400 pounds above his head and destroyed his back. He was hospitalized. Linda had to go get a job, man, working minimum wage, man. This is all true. Because the money Bruce Lee got from his father from China, he bought a Porsche because he was trying to live that Hollywood lifestyle. He was racing the Porsche with James Coburn, who was his friend, Steve McQueen, and all of those people. Then he injured himself, and he just financially he wasn't straight. This is before he blew up. He wasn't straight. So the wife had to work, man. Bruce Lee is hospitalized on drugs, but he makes his recovery, right? But Bruce is I think, what was the drug? Equagesic. Bruce was he was given the Equagesic, which was something that he was not prescribed. And based on what Bruce Lee did in early 1973, like removing the sweat glands and taking all those drugs and shutting down his body's ability to detox, Bruce did himself in. See, a lot of people think they came and targeted Bruce. Now, I'm not going to lie, they did. But that's not what killed Bruce Lee. This is why his autopsy says death by misadventure. And by misadventure, oh yeah, that's removing the sweat glands and all the stuff that he did, the mixture of drugs. Death by misadventure is correct. And Chuck Norris is the only person that I've heard that actually co-signs that. And he used to train with Bruce Lee. Yeah. Chuck Norris, if you listen to Chuck Norris, everything I'm saying, Chuck Norris will tell you. Bruce Lee on the drugs, he injured his back trying to lift 400 something a pound. He was mixing drugs loosely, unwisely, did himself in. You'll never hear Chuck Norris say that there was a conspiracy, to kill Bruce Lee. Jeez. Bruce died by death by misadventure. Now, this is not to say there wasn't after. Bruce taught the Western world. He taught Caucasians. He did violate the principles of the Shaolin Temple, but they didn't get to Bruce to kill him. Now, had Bruce lived, maybe. But Bruce fell out editing Enter the Dragon in May of 1973. Was taken to the hospital. He was given a clean bill of health. They said Bruce Lee had the body of a teenager. And then in August, I think in July, I believe. In July, we all know what happened. Bruce was out. Went to sleep, never woke back up. Death by misadventure.
That sounds like a name for a movie or an album or a band. Death by Misadventure. I never even heard of that one.
Oh, look it up. Death by Misadventure, man. And if you learn everything Bruce Lee did, misadventure. He's very adventurous dude. He's, Sagittarius.
So I gotta go. Get some pick up some dinner for the family. But I think we should do a part 2. I think we should do a part 2 next month.
Absolutely.
Because I think we got so much. You have so much wisdom and so many cool stories, and I'm like a sponge, just absorbing all of it, and I love it, and I know the audience did too. So tell everybody where they could find you and what your websites are and all that good stuff.
Yes, a lot of people think that I own Mandingo, Divine Medicinal, what have you. I make the products for those companies. So if you want what I make, you can go to divinemedicinals.com, mandingo.com, wumily.com. But for me, the person, the man, the information, that's going to be support at lifemasteryforum.com. Support at lifemasteryforum.com. And Thor, if the people, because I know you had on X a post, questions for Tehuti. if the people want me to answer those before we hook up again next month, I can tweet those people, I can DM them, or I can just do like a 1 hour space, what have you, to answer those people. So I don't want the people to think that we just didn't care about them, what have you. Just the time caught
Yeah.
us. But I'm willing
Yeah.
to do that if it's a big deal.
That's my fault. Listen, I like to say, hey, I've never had a conversation with DJEHUTY. If I was at a bus stop with DJEHUTY, this would have been the conversation.
Right. Right.
So that's how. And then for part 2, we get to questions and all that good stuff. And then, so when people, and I know I have to go, I'm getting yelled at. When people are taking herbs and medicinals and aphrodisiac stuff, do you look at that? And the way I look at it is like a one and done, which I'm super conservative. But do you look at it as like a week on, 30 days off, or are there certain things that you have people take all the time, or is it more of like a once in a while? Like how do you look at that approach, or does it vary? It varies from person to person.
It's circumstance. Everybody I deal with is one-on-one. Everybody is different, right? Everybody, one word, and then everybody, BODY, is different, right? Everybody's circumstances is different. So there are some people who need to do 3 months. Some people need to do 2 weeks, what have you. So it's all circumstantial. There's no one set modality or regimen for every person. So it's circumstantial, and it could be 3 months, it could be 2 weeks, it could be a month, or what have you. It all depends.
Yes, and that's serendipitous. We ended the show how we kind of started it, and I just looked at it like in nature. If we were tribal people, which we all were at some point thousands of years ago, when we stumbled upon medicines in the wild, how would we do them? How would we store them? How would we take them? It would be more of a, hey, I need this thing, let me go get it.
Right.
Rather than a, I don't need this thing, I'm just gonna go click, 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 click in order, But
Yes.
we're living in such a toxic time that pretty much everybody
Right.
needs as much help as they can get.
Absolutely. Yeah, but we'll touch on all of that in the future. It's a lot of good information out there. Tutti Mara is all about stimulating independent thought, man. I don't have a following, a church, a temple, organization. It's just information. Stimulate thought so people can think for themselves, to do for themselves. And a person, man, that's not in the money wouldn't say something like that.
It's true, and it's how people get red pilled, and one thing leads to another, and slowly but surely they get off that big pharma plantation, and they could more settle and find their final destination of just put the phone down and just thrive, and spread love.
That's what I want for people, man. Do your own research. I tell people all the time, Tahuti's not going to always be here. I'm not going to always be around, man. But you're going to always have questions. You're going to always have problems. And you need to be able to solve your problems, man.
Mm-hmm.
Because if not, you make yourself a slave. He who can do it for you can do it to you. That's what happened to Michael Jackson.
Yeah, and you don't want to be left. I'm seeing rumors now about Kanye West, where he's doing this nitrous gas. These genius minds, these creative minds. How genius are you if you get dependent on their cocktail of drugs and then are a prisoner to that system? So it's rising above all that. Yeah. That's true genius. That's true high IQ play.
Yeah.
With that said, guys, DJEHUTY.
We'll do it again, man. Thank you, Thor. I think this conversation needed to happen. It was foundational, so I apologize to the followers out there, but we needed this talk here because this is the first time we chop like this, man. I appreciate it.
Exactly. Everyone's like,
oh, go ahead.
Everyone's like, you need to debate. And I'm like, man, listen, I like DJEHUTY and I want to get to know him. And then maybe one day we can talk about this and that, but that's not as important right now as opening up people's minds, making all this stuff cool,
right?
Especially with the inner cities.
Right.
I was in North Philly last week, and man, it's like it's a no-go zone there, and it's like there's corner stores with white Wonder Bread and canned honey buns, you know, and it's like health is wealth, health is peace, and people have toxic livers, and then they go out into society and they start acting toxic, you know, this is part of the conversation.
Yeah.
So let's do a part 2 next
Absolutely.
month or something. And sorry if we didn't answer everybody's questions, but we'll get to them.
Done deal, man. Hey, enjoy the time with the family, man. I respect your time, man. Do your thing.
Thank you so much, DJEHUTY.
Right.
Stay on the line. I'm going to end this, but then I'll just say goodbye
Yes,
normally. Okay, cool. Because it's a lot of times I'll end the stream and then the person will just leave, and I'll be like, "Oh, you could have stayed and said goodbye." Sometimes it's probably a better thing. I'm bad at saying goodbye. I'm the guy who's at the party till 5 a.m. and everyone's like, you know, what were you doing? It's like, I don't know, man. It's like, or I'm just Irish goodbye. So see you guys next week, next Thursday. One of ones, ThorTorrens.com. DJEHUTY is at DJEHUTY Speaks on X. He's got a great account, and he's got his link in his bio too. So we'll see you next Thursday, and we'll see you tomorrow and tonight on X, because you know we like to shoot the shit there as well. All right, guys. See you next time.